welcome everybody. Who you got there right there is Mr. Alberto Lugo, who's the CEO of INVID. And I am the GovBrief host of the day. I'm Dave Lowe. So if you don't like what we're doing, then just remember what you paid for it. With that, we want to welcome everybody. We got folks coming from a lot of different agencies here. So we want to welcome all the federal folks that are joining us. We also have folks from industry. And here's the thing. You're not going to believe this, but GSA supplied us with a disclaimer. And this event is not affiliated or endorsed by GSA, and any other agency any other agency for that matter, and is provided to you for informational purposes only. And you can participate. And by participating in this briefing, it's not an endorsement or commitment to purchase from anybody, including INVID, but this gives us the ability to communicate properly. Participation is really, really easy. You can chat, you can raise your hand, and you can even submit Q&A. If you want to keep something off the radar screen from everybody else, you can send it to govsupport@invidgroup.com, and I promise you somebody will help and answer your questions. Just real quick, if you haven't been on a Zoom meeting and you've been living under a rock for the past 9 months, well, you can change things in your Zoom controls. That little, I call it a doodah, that little doodah at the bottom, you can drag and make it, you can change the views and make us disappear if you don't like the way we look today or whatever it happens to be. I am going to put the handouts, because Zoom does not allow this to just put in handouts in this type of thing. I am putting the handouts into the links into the chat. So if you open up the chat, you'll be able to see those. And I'll do that a couple of times for the folks that come later, because we want to make sure that you have a copy of the presentation. We will talk a little bit about INVID and what you guys do and why you're good at what you do, as well as get into what nearshore sourcing is. And it's really important because many different aspects of outsourcing and some of the benefits, if you might not know about why you should consider Puerto Rico. So the first question that we have is, why in the world did you decide to join us here today? And you want to learn about near sourcing? Is you have an IT project that needs support? I work with federal contracts that prohibit offshore sourcing, or your boss made you come. Some Weisenheimer has to answer that last one, right?
You have to add that Dave Lowe made me come.
Dave Lowe made me come. Dave Lowe made me come. All right, so we'll get you going. We have over 170 people registered, so I don't know if people fell asleep while they're trying to log in or whatever happens to be. We're going to do our best to not put you in a coma today.
Yes.
With death by PowerPoint. So we're going to get right at it. We
promise to be brief.
Yep, we'll do our best to be brief. So we're going to talk a little about, tell us about you, Mr. Alberto Lugo. I know you're a software engineer, so tell us about your work.
I studied software engineering about 20 years ago, and started a company to automate business processes, which is called INVID. And basically, I live in Puerto Rico, travel a lot to DC. That's how we met. Yep. And being in Puerto Rico, I love to kite surf. So that's one of my hobbies, other than being a workaholic, because I truly love to work a lot.
That's right. I'm going to end this poll and we're going to get rid of it so that we can, I have something special for everybody about you that I happen to dig up. And there he is, doing his thing.
Yeah, that's being on an island. It's decisive. You have to do this.
That's right.
If you travel to an island anywhere in the world, you have to try this sport. It's great.
I'm not so sure I can do it, but I will be glad to give it a shot. So, so INVID, you've been doing this for quite some time, and for 16 years, and you're doing work with the federal government already, right?
Correct. Yes. I would say if we want to say what we do in a sentence, we simplify business processes, we automate workflows, and we measure results. And we do that by creating custom software. So that's what we do in different areas of the business. But at the end of the day, if we get into an elevator and you ask me what I do, that's what I do.
That's what you do, man. That's your elevator pitch. And you got some good folks there. that work with you, and great,
Yep.
great camera
That's
shot.
our
Yeah.
leadership team. We have great people working in different areas of the business, accounting and finance, in the area of technology, sales, and human resources. Yes.
How many folks are you up to now?
We just passed the 50. We're 54 now, and we have a couple of new roles open, so we should be 60 in a couple of weeks.
That's excellent. A lot of good growth. Congratulations on that. That doesn't happen by accident. Everybody knows it doesn't happen by accident.
Thank you so much.
So
Yes.
you're doing a whole bunch of different services, web portals, mobile applications, robotic automation, all those types of things, multiple industries, healthcare, government. That's a lot of folks here.
Being on an island, we have to be proficient in different industries. And a lot of folks in the States ask me, well, why are you working with different industries? And being on a small island, you have to be working with different industries because you don't have a lot of banks, you don't have a lot of healthcare, you don't have a lot of anything. So you start creating expertise around different industries. And that's why we work with this. These are the top industries that we work with.
That's fantastic. And you have a couple of certifications, 8A, awesome. Congratulations on that. I heard that was extended by a year.
1 year, one more year. So we're going to be having, I think it's now 10 years instead of 9.
Instead of 9.
We're very grateful for that. We've been a minority business enterprise since 2016 and disadvantaged business enterprise from the Department of Transportation for our region since 2016. And then we've been a Microsoft Gold partner, which means we are very close to that company, and we offer and create software on top of their platforms as well.
Yep. And just so you know that you're talking to a superstar, Inc. 5000. You're the SBA Service Provider Awardee for 2020.
Yep, for our region. Yeah, we made the list for Inc. 5000 this year for the first time. And we also were awarded the Service Provider of the Year for the Caribbean for the SBA.
Yep.
And we have a few accolades, as I was mentioning, from Microsoft for 2017, 2015, and 2012.
And we're going to talk a little bit more about how you do that. A lot of you do agile transformation.
Yes, we use agile or Scrum methodology to create software or to deliver the software that we create. And that's because we can show value very fast in increments of weekly or 2-week increments. So the client gets to see the progress really fast, and we can change direction, add requirements, or take out requirements. And it's very easy to adopt to different clients. And that's why we adopted it a couple of years ago with great results.
Yep. And it's very important. Some of the technologies that you have, web apps, web servers.
Yes, we do work with a bunch of different technologies. These are the ones that we're more proficient with. We're going to leave that in the materials that you can download later. So if you have a requirement that it's not in these technologies, we can always take a look at it. We were not working with some of these technologies a couple of years ago, but we have been adding them to the portfolio because we've been working with them for a long time.
Yep. A lot of different technologies and getting into cloud development. A lot of SharePoint. I know you specialize in SharePoint for folks. So that's a good thing for folks.
SharePoint, Office 365, and Power Apps. I know there's a lot of folks in the government that are looking for automating software or getting out of InfoPath, which is one of the dying technologies for Microsoft. So we are migrating some of our clients from InfoPath forms to SharePoint and Power Apps. So that's something that it's hot out of the oven.
Cool. Awesome. Now, enough about you. We're going to start talking about Puerto Rico. So let's talk about what people have done. Have you ever outsourced, or have you've never? I have never outsourced. I have outsourced to U.S. based companies. I've outsourced to Europe, India, Asia based companies, or outsourced to U.S. territories. Let us know what you guys have done. And it's great. There's a lot of folks that have never outsourced, which is fantastic because there's a great reason for you to be here, and some of the economic reasons for considering Puerto Rico. Lots of good reasons. So, and in addition, like I said, participation is easy. Let's see. Oh, let's see. Roberto Vasquez, very proud of the professional progress of Alberto and the INVID team.
Hey,
Look at that shout
Roberto,
out
good to
from-
have you in the briefing.
Roberto gets to stay in the briefing. Anybody else that doesn't bring that kind of accolades gets to get booted off. That's awesome. Thank you, Roberto. We appreciate that. If you have any other comments or anything, just you can chat, you can raise your hand, you can pop them in the questions, and we'll make sure we get there. We're going to shut this poll down, and most of the folks, I'm going to share this because this is pretty good. Most of the folks have never outsourced. Fantastic. And folks that have, for US based companies, you're in for a treat too. And everybody,
Yes.
yeah, absolutely. So thanks for sharing that. And we'll get right at it and get us cooking through the rest of this. So let's talk about what is nearshore. Let's talk about onshore, nearshore, offshore. What do those mean?
So it's basically if you're contracting companies that are far away from home, you're basically offshoring, and you are outsourcing to Asia, companies in India, in different areas. And I mention India because there's a lot of folks that do outsource to their software to those countries. And then when you are getting closer to home, which we're going to talk about the benefits, then you're nearshoring. So you're outsourcing still, but closer to home, closer to your time zone. And then onshoring is when you are contracting companies that are not your company, but are in your same state or at least in your same country.
Yep. So why Puerto Rico? And this is where everybody gets depressed about where they live right about now when they see this.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, is there anything else we need to say?
I don't think this is the first reason, but it's a good reason.
It's a good reason. It's a very good reason. And my thought is, as a business expense, you might have to visit your partner in Puerto Rico.
For sure. 90 degrees, almost 100% of the time. We get 90 to 100 degrees. So we don't have different seasons. It's just summer all year long. So that's a good reason to visit us and meet with us here.
Now, for that entails all the business reasons that are necessary, but just in case you need some supporting information, just to get it past the IRS of why you have to visit your partner in Puerto Rico. So why Puerto Rico? Let's talk about the workforce that gets graduated and the people, the talent pool that you have there.
A lot of engineers graduating from the two major universities in Puerto Rico. They get sourced from major companies in the US. And some of these folks don't want to live in the US, so they stay in Puerto Rico and they do work with us. So we appeal to all these students that are looking for a job in Puerto Rico. And we are working with a few companies in the US, and we're growing our footprint in the US. So you can work with a highly qualified workforce. As a matter of fact, we have to compete with Lockheed Martin, Pratt & Whitney, and all these big folks that come to Puerto Rico because they know the secret. A highly qualified workforce.
Yep. And there's a lot of reasons for this, but lower cost of doing business, obviously cost of living being
yeah. So we do hold a lower cost of living than many of the states in the U.S. and we don't pay federal taxes. So that's something that we forward to our clients. Those savings are passed to our clients. So you're gonna get a better deal working with a company in Puerto Rico. And we also get a special tax treatment when we are exporting services outside of Puerto Rico, and US happens to be one of those countries that we can export services to.
You can export to the US and you're a US territory. That's fantastic. All right. So,
yes.
And speaking of territory / location, not a bad place. One of the things you mentioned earlier was the closer time zones. And there's certainly outsourcing folks that that'll adjust to your time, but it's another thing to actually be operating in that time, right?
Correct. So it's easier to talk to someone that it's in your same time zone, and we are Eastern +1. It's called AST. So most of the year we can talk at your time, and even our clients that are on the West Coast, it's not a big time difference. It's just 3 hours. So we can manage to meet during the day and we can work in your time zone. So we're not waking up at 3 a.m. so we can answer the phone and all that. So that's a huge advantage over companies in Asia, because we can definitely adapt to your work schedule.
Yep. And we mentioned visiting. So you guys
Yes.
you can get to DC pretty quick.
Yeah, we are a 4-hour flight from DC, 2.5 hours from Miami, and 6 hours from central Midwest. So it's very easy to hop on a plane. Most of the cities in the East Coast have direct flights to Puerto Rico, so it's very easy to either us get to your office or you come into Puerto Rico.
Yep. And this time of year, my recommendation is go there.
Yes.
And one thing that I find amazing is that while you're exporting to the United States, you're also made in the United States. So anything that's done there and created there is made in the United States, right?
Yes, some of the companies in Puerto Rico that are working with the federal government, they work with DOD and these other top secret that need top secret clearance, and some of them are doing gear for DOD. So it's made in the U.S. So it doesn't matter that you are outsourcing or nearshore outsourcing, because we are a U.S. territory. You can put the made in the U.S. label, and we abide by the same federal laws. And the cultural dynamic is very important, because most of the people in Puerto Rico understands the U.S. because it's like a small state. We have Costco, we have Walgreens, we abide by the same regulations. Yeah, a bunch of them. I'm a huge fan, actually.
Yeah, man.
So we have, and most of the people that work in IT, they speak both languages, both English and Spanish. So they're proficient in English.
Yep. And we find that to be the case. You mentioned this as well. There's some really unique tax incentives, not the least of which is no federal tax, right? But
yes, again, this is not something that it's for the client, but we pass through some of these savings to our clients in the US, because we get a special tax treatment or tax bracket when we are exporting services. So that's why we get allowed to lower our prices when we are working with companies in the US.
Yep. And the young professional tax bracket, that's folks that are just coming out of college, or?
Yeah, if you have 25 years or less, you get a special tax bracket. So you also can start at a lower wage, and you don't have to pay that much taxes. So it all benefits. At the end of the day, it benefits the end client.
Yep.
And that's why we show it in this presentation.
Yeah, absolutely. And it does make a difference. So currency, you operate with dollars.
Again, same banking system. Actually, we get regulated by the Fed and the FDIC. So two federal agencies that regulate the banking system in Puerto Rico. So you are safe with your investment and what you're paying for. We use the same currency and the same banking system. So we actually hold accounts in different states and in Puerto Rico as well.
Yep. And this is huge. And anybody that's dealt with an offshore company, me personally, I know about this, in that you're tracking somebody down to fix a problem when there is a problem. There are problems from time to time. Yes. And you want to be able to access somebody to keep them, especially for your intellectual property of what you're creating, right? If you're outsourcing it, it's still your property.
Correct.
You're building if you're building something for somebody, and this this is a big concern, and you don't have to look very far for it, right? But yeah, you're under those.
I want to say that so we can start a company, we need a tax ID number from the federal government. So we abide by the same regulations. So you can defend your intellectual property if you're working with a company in Puerto Rico, and you can enforce all those regulations that you would if you were working with a company in the States, in any state.
Yep. And if you're talking about socio-economic certifications, operates the same way, because you're operating in the same government. It is, and 90% of your island, you weren't hub zone. You were in the 10% that wasn't.
Yeah, after the hurricane, most of the areas in Puerto Rico became hub zone. So, and we actually moved to a facility that it's in a hub zone. So we're getting ready to get that certification. In the 8A, remember, for our folks that are here that are from the federal government, after Hurricane Maria, there was a law passed that you get double points if you contract with a company in Puerto Rico. I mean, double points for diversity spending.
I didn't know that.
Yes, after Hurricane Maria in 2017, there was a law passed that all federal agencies or prime contractors that work with a company in Puerto Rico get double points for that threshold that they need to fill.
Interesting. And all of the socioeconomic, including service, disabled, and veteran owned, also applies. So why Puerto Rico? And we'll get into some of your questions in just a minute. There's a couple up here. But why Puerto Rico? Obviously, the main reason is because it's a great place to do business from. Yes. Wireless works in hammocks too, just saying. But as you mentioned, excuse me, there's a lot of reasons for that. Some of them that you don't even realize until you've done outsourcing, right?
Yes, I want to add one that we don't have here, and some of the folks that we have been having meetings with in the last couple of weeks have asked. It's about broadband access. And okay. Yes, and that's something that is very important for some of the folks because we're doing remote work. And just to clarify, we do have broadband access, fiber optics in most of the business buildings in the area that we work with. And also from most of our employees have broadband access from home. So we do have a great telecommunications infrastructure and that allow us to work either at our facilities or remotely.
All right. We got a couple questions. What security testing do you perform on your source code? Do you do it yourself or use an outside service or both? Great question.
Well, that's a good question. Some of the clients require that we do it ourselves, and some of the clients we have a different business model. So sometimes we get code from other companies and we do the security testing. Sometimes the client requests our code to be tested by a third party, and sometimes we do it all ourselves.
Right, hold on one second. I just want to make sure everybody gets copies of these handouts because some people came in late. All right, are all of your software developers U.S. citizens? Great question.
That's a great question, and they are. All of our employees they're not consultants, so that means that they are in our payroll, and they all are U.S. citizens with all the paperwork needed to work with U.S.-based companies.
Great question. And if you have any other questions,
I myself hold a top secret clearance just to show that even being in Puerto Rico allows you to clear yourself and your folks. So is that a requirement as well? We can definitely do it from here.
And what about a facilities clearance? Do you have that?
I don't yet, but it's possible from Puerto Rico to clear the facility and clear all other employees as well.
Yep, absolutely. All right, so if you have any other questions, we'll get to those in just a minute. There's a couple things that are out there. I want to ask this particular poll, which is, what would you like? I would like I'd like more information about outsourcing to Puerto Rico. You can choose as many as you want on this one, by the way. For IT programming, integration, web development, staff, team augmentation, business analysis, maintenance support services, or other non-IT needs. And I remembered who asked me the question. It's a gentleman that is with Brella, I think, asked me yesterday about people that assemble and sew materials, textile. Do you have some folks that you know in textile industry there?
Yes, that was what I was talking about at the beginning of the webinar, that there's a few companies that work with the Department of Defense in creating uniforms and different materials for those agencies. I just wanna answer Darren's question about working with international opportunities as well, and yes we do. So if you have any questions or requests, you can email us at govsupport@INVID Group, or you can email me at alugo@invidgroup.com.
Hold on a second, guys. I heard that something's happening with the link. I'm going to try to do my best to do it separately because I think it may be bundling them together. Let's try that. Do the last one. Don't pay any attention to the other one. I'll see if we'll get, if not, we'll get you the links, right? Because
Yes, that last one worked.
the last one worked.
Yes, that's the capability statement.
Yep. So I think if you now they'll work. Maybe it's just the pasting operation. That's an ID10T error. Are you familiar with ID10T errors? Anybody? Anybody know what an ID10T error is? Watch this. Everybody's gonna love this. Let me see if I get a pen that's broad enough here. So if you think about errors, right? So you have to write this down. It's the letters ID, the number 10, and the letter T. That's ID10T error. That one was free, ladies and gentlemen. I am here all week. Anyhow, all right. So we got folks that are interested, and we'll make sure that you get some additional information. Looks like staff augmentation is one of the ones, so I think you can handle some of those comments, right?
Yeah.
All right. So we'll do follow-ups on those. Any other questions that we have? Let me see if we got chats here. There it is. Kimberly knows it. Antonio knows it too.
Yes.
ID10T. That's right. I didn't make that up, but I use it all the time, and it is I resemble that error many times. So my apologies. All right, so let me see if we got Q&A. Let's see. How do you get in touch with Mr. Lugo's firm for potential opportunities? Ivan, I do believe that I'm going to be able to give you a contact in just a minute, but you are already in contact with him because we're talking to him right now. Awesome.
Yes.
Fantastic. Speaking of which, and while you are not obligated, if you're with the federal government or anybody else, to purchase from said company, INVID or Alberto and his team, you can if you want to. And here's the information. Dunn's Cage GSA contract. You got that GSA contract cooking. And you are an 8A, and that was from 2016, right? So you got plenty of years left.
Yep.
Super. And through partners, if you need service disabled folks, I'm sure that he can help. If you need to funnel things through them and you still want to work through folks in Puerto Rico, that's why we're here. So we can certainly do that. And you will get, as a recap, you'll get a copy of the presentation capabilities, get a link to the video so you can watch it over and over and submit it for many awards because of how entertaining it is. And the one-on-one discussions with Alberto, we'll make sure we get those. And you were asking for it. You got it. There's Alberto's contact information. You can get him at alugo at INVID Group. And that phone number actually does ring to you every once in a while, I heard. And I do have some other questions. What type of labor rates do you charge? What is the expected reduction I could expect compared to U.S. mainland developers? Great question.
So that's a great question. And what we have found over the past year when we started doing this, it's about 20 to 30% less. But it all gonna depend on the quantity of people that you are requiring, the amount of time, and the experience that the person that you are requiring has. So it fluctuates. And I'll be happy to answer any questions offline if you would like to get a sense of that. But in general, it's between 20 and 30% less.
20, 30, not bad. Plus, you have to visit Puerto Rico to check on them and make sure they're doing it good. All right. Okay. Darren says his email is Darren. That's right. Darren, you were here early, man.
Yes.
He popped in. We were doing a practice running.
Yes.
So he got to see the behind the scenes. Do you have any Scala developers? SCALA. Is that a agile?
No.
SCALA. What's Scala?
I don't think we have, but I have to double check with the team.
Awesome. That came from Anita. So there you go, Anita. We will find that out for you. It's a language similar to Java. Okay.
We do have a few Java developers actually working on a federal contract, but I'm gonna ask the team and get back to you.
All right. Very good. Let me see. We got another one here. Are you incorporated in the state of Virginia? I see your 703 area code is an Arlington address. Great question, Helen.
Yes,
No, he's
we
an
are.
imposter.
We are incorporated in Puerto Rico, although we have a small office in Crystal City.
That's right. He with voice over IP, you can be anywhere you want.
That's correct.
That's right. Awesome. Great question, Helen. All right. I think, did we get them all? I don't. If I miss them, let me know. You can shoot them to GovSupport at INVID or whatever, wherever you needed to. But we just want to thank you for joining us. Hopefully, you got some good information. You make some good contacts with Alberto and his team. And as always, Alberto, love talking with you.
Yes, I'd be happy to hop into a call with any of you guys that need more information or want to get more details on rates and what we can do for you guys.
Yep. And it doesn't have to be IT. If you got something else, Alberto makes some good connections. He's involved with the local folks there, the local business community, so he knows a lot of people. So feel free to reach out to him. And how much does it cost to talk with you, Alberto?
It's free.
Free. My favorite four-letter word. So there you go. Awesome. Well, we do appreciate it. Carmen, you are welcome. And everybody else that was here, thanks so much for joining us. We're glad that you did it, and we will do our best to be able to get you additional information. I sent an inquiry through the INVID website. Apparently, INVID works.
Thank you very much. We'll be in touch with all of you that contact us through any of the ways that Dave announced. You can call us, you can fill the form, or you can email us, and we will be in contact as soon as possible so we can discuss your project.
That's right. Carrier pigeons don't work so well going to Puerto Rico, but everything else works pretty well.
Correct.
All right, guys. Thanks so much. We appreciate you guys joining us. We will see you next time.
Take care. Bye.
Yeah, thanks much.